Thousands of Connecticut convicts are walking out on their sentences, many of them never to return.
It's a story that Chief Investigator David Iverson is digging into. He has details for us. And David, how many inmates are we talking about here?
Well, Ann and Darren, in just a few years, nearly 1,000 inmates have walked away. Almost 1 in 10 of those have never returned. Christine DeLong called the police herself. Her boyfriend, Jamar Johnson, had gotten more mad than usual this time. A fight over money ended with his hands around her neck.
Lifted off the ground and thrown 3 times.
Johnson, who had drug convictions on his record, was convicted of second-degree strangulation. But just 1 year and 1 month after he was sentenced, he was in this New Haven halfway house when police say he got up and walked out.
He can be dangerous if he really wants the drugs and really wants the money.
For 3 months, he was out in the streets. One of the first people he contacted?
He did contact me.
The woman he attacked.
A man like that can be dangerous.
It had been 14 months since Johnson attacked her, and now she recalls the frightening moment when he was calling, saying he was coming to her again. According to Department of Correction, Johnson is one of the 978 inmates who have illegally walked away from Connecticut halfway houses since 2009. The News 8 investigators reviewed court files for dozens of inmates and found criminals with violent histories sentenced to these programs and walking away, many still nowhere to be found. Alfredo Aldeco was convicted of kidnapping and robbery in 2007. He forced someone into a car at gunpoint before robbing them. By late 2012, he was out of jail and into this Waterbury halfway house. Months later, and with just months to go, he walked out, and as of this broadcast, still has not been found to finish his sentence. While some of these offenders simply vanish, others reappear, and not in a good way. Take Madeline Martinez. 11 months after she walked away from this halfway house, she was charged with a murder in Hartford. Police say she shot someone in the back of the head after a robbery. She's awaiting trial in the case. She has pled not guilty.
These offenders are going home.
Department of Correction Commissioner James Zarenda says the halfway houses do work, but stopping walkaways altogether is near impossible.
Can we predict crime? No, we can't.
8% of these walkaways have never come back. Some have gone for 5 years without ever finishing their sentence. If this was a prison, I imagine there would be a manhunt. Can more not be done to track these people down?
You have to understand that these offenders are discharging within a very short period of time. So even if they were doing 50 years, 60 years in prison, they are within 6 months that they are going to actually be discharged right back into their community.
But those who stayed in the halfway house say little was done, if anything at all, to find the inmates.
Someone walks away one day and all of a sudden somebody fights the next and you forgot about the person walking away. Nothing surprises me in the Department of Corrections. And
state inspectors are finding problems inside these houses. The Department of Correction ended contracts with 3 halfway houses in 2013. And more problems than just walkaways here in Norwalk. This now shuttered work release program, state inspectors found inmates without jobs and moldy food in the kitchen. Despite the issues with the program and inmates ending sentences on their terms, Commissioner Zarenda says the Department of Correction is doing what they set out to do. Make sure inmates do not reoffend.
And that's the key. It's the reduction. It's not the elimination of. We can never predict behavior.
In the meantime, victims of those who have walked away say more needs to be done.
No, I think they should have more security at halfway houses. I really do.
Now, some of you have already sounded off on this story, saying what the state needs are more parole officers. We asked the Department of Correction about that. Their answer, it wouldn't help. There's just no way to predict behavior 100% of the time. David Iverson reporting for the News 8 investigators.
All right, David, thanks. If you have something you want the News 8 investigators to look into, just call our investigators tip line, the number on your screen, 203-402-TIP-8.